Hey, what's going on, guys? Battle Nation Zimper here, back today with another video. And today, guys, we're back in the sandbox for what just might be the last sandbox video I ever make. Unless there's some serious development or you guys just really want to see another one, this will probably be the last one we make because this is a 2024 review video, and I couldn't think of a better place to do the 2024 review for Battle Nations than this place because, I mean, just look at it, and think about everything we've done in it. This place used to be pretty much my hope for Battle Nations, and now it has gone so past that with so much yet to come. But before we jump into it, I just want to give a big shout out to fellow YouTuber The Big E 74 here on YouTube, or just The Big E on Discord. I have all Patreon tiers up to Emperor because, being that I'm the Battle Nations Emperor, I thought it would just be pretty cool if I was Emperor. And I was chilling with Emperor because that gives me just about everything on Patreon. For my fellow Patreon users, you'll know what I mean. It just covers just about everything except Mammoth, which is right above it. And I was kind of cool with, just chilling out as Emperor, as the Battle Nations Emperor. I thought it was real fitting. However, thanks to fellow YouTuber The Big E, who gifted me Mammoth today, I am now a Mammoth, and now have all Mammoth perks, including what I'm most excited for, the Plasma Mammoth, meaning that when the full game comes out, I will have every single unit to review for you guys. There will not be a single unit missing for you guys. So just wanted to give a massive shout out before we start today's video to The Big E. And with all that being said, let's jump right into today's video, which is just covering what, in my opinion, was the best video pretty much year for Battle Nations 2024. And I really wanted to make a video on this because, I think besides maybe 2013, this was the best year for Battle Nations. And I'm not even building in this because, in the beta we now know what buildings look like. We've built plenty in the background. I want to do one thing I can't do in the beta, and that's move resource deposits. So mine in the background, which is just me, doing stuff we can't do in regular Battle. Can I move the mountains? I don't care about that. Can I move this big one? Yes, I can. Let's put it right here. Alright, so I'm just going to be doing silly stuff like that in the background. But as I was saying, 2024 was the best year for Battle Nations, and if you don't include its foundational year, 2013. We had possibly the most hype growth. We had the biggest community comeback. We started this year not knowing if Battle Nations was still a thing. We still had active people commenting on new videos saying, hey, is Battle Nation still coming back? I've heard rumors, of Madrona Games, but I haven't seen anything official. To now, we have a beta in hand, it's public knowledge, and we know the full game is on way. So I just want to discuss the kind of story of Battle Nations real briefly. Don't worry, it's not going to be, I've covered it multiple times in previous videos, and if you haven't, here's a really quick brief rundown. Founded in 2013 by a company called Z2. Z2 previously had a game called Trade Nations. Trade Nations basically Battle Nations, except it was much more simplified and it had no battle strategy. The developer was like, what if we add war? Make some fun game. They make Battle Nations extremely good the first few years. However, somewhere along the line, you can argue when, but somewhere along the lines it does slowly start to dissipate the energy, the feel of the game, until eventually I'm going to make sure I get the exact dates for you guys, on February 12th, 2015. It's almost a decade ago now, so a month away from now we will cross a decade since this happened. Candy Crush maker King purchased Z2 and all their games, of course, now owning Battle Nations. Z2 would now be a subsidiary to King, and King would have complete control over the future of all their games, and would initially say nothing would change. However, all games would stagnate under King, all Z2 games at least, until eventually the cord would be pulled on not just Battle Nations, but all Z2 games, and that will, of course, include Battle Nations. And all players were given unlimited nanopods. It was a very fun last week, and then it ended. So, following that closure in 2016, and I think we can all agree, 2016 was the worst year for Battle Nations. Maybe you can argue 2013 versus 2024 is the best year. I would still say 2024, this previous year, was the best year for Battle Nations, but there's an argument to be made. It's foundational year 2013 was, I'll give you that. But I think we can all agree the worst year was definitely 2016 when it shut down, because we all thought it was dead. Most games do not come back from that, yet here Battle Nations was, defying the inevitable. So, Battle Nations is re-released, is basically seen as a laughingstock because, again, King had shut it down, they own the rights, they were just more or less going to let it and all its other V2 IPOs die. There was no hope for it. Can I move any of these guys? Oh my goodness, I can. Let's go. So, very little optimism, and it was just believed within the community that, the game was over. So, no developments for multiple years, all the way till Madrona Games makes a licensing agreement with King. This is huge, and this of course leads to us to the great year of 2024, where we get everything from the sandbox blowing up, the community blowing up on Reddit and Discord, more people joining the Patreon, the beta becoming out at the end, of course, at the end of 2024 there, and then becoming public knowledge, and then just everything just kind of falling in place after that. It was genuinely insane. So, I would say 2024 was without a shadow of a doubt the best year for Battle Nations. Yet, despite that, I'm going to go ahead, sorry about that, my phone just fell. But despite that, I'm still going to go ahead and say, it's my opinion that I believe Battle Nations' best year is going to be 2025, because despite the Patreon release being extremely well received, and I believe just being awesome, because again, they don't have to do anything just besides just Return of Battle Nations, and which is what they're doing perfectly right now. If it just continues, I think we're going to have an awesome 2025, and that's pretty much my thesis for this case. I don't expect anything in 2025 to happen other than the return of Battle Nations, but due to how Madrona Games has already conducted themselves and how well they've shown us to be producers of the game, I have full confidence that 2025 will show the full launch of Battle Nations on the iOS and Android store and Steam and every other platform for free, and I think it will dominate the global gaming sphere, because again, it's such a lenient game with nanopods. Nanopods are such a cool concept, they're such a interesting, unique concept. They're very generous, they allow freemium players to exist. And I don't see Madrona Games pulling EA personally. I don't think they get stingy with it. Let me also, because I'm afraid to move some of these, don't want to get too terribly loud. I'm going to turn down my sound effects just a little, and my music just a little. And as I was saying, I don't see them pulling in EA. I see them more or less keeping it the same, more or less just expanding Battle Nations content-wise and lore-wise. Of course, just giving us more of Battle Nations after they've restored Battle Nations to its former glory. But I truly believe once it's reestablished, people are going to flock to this game. I believe it's something great, I believe it's special, and I believe it deserves to be brought back from the dead. There's a reason this community stuck with it over a decade while it was nothing. I mean, genuinely nothing, and people still stuck with it because they love it, because this game is something to be loved. It is an amazing freemium experience. I'm so glad the community exists. I still wake up sometimes and I'm like, how did this community not die out? I think we all know at least a handful of mobile games that we played that just don't exist anymore, and nobody else knows. I mean, I can name 5 off the top of my head, but I'm not about to name 5 random games. But I'm sure if you were a mobile gamer like me back in the 2010s, which, let's be honest, a lot of us are Battle Nation players, we are, I think we can all testify to mobile games come and went. And it doesn't matter how cool they were, it doesn't matter how unique they were, it doesn't matter how much they deserve to exist. Some of them just come and went, and the ones who went, well, they're just gone now, and they don't come back. But Battle Nations is the rare exception. Battle Nations somehow said, no, I'm not, and just said, I'm going to come back. So, thanks to the effort of the community, thanks to the effort in major part to Madrona Games for, reviving it and currently developing it, it is huge part into all of us for, never, letting go of our love for this game. And I truly believe Madrona Games is going to deliver us an amazing 2024, launching the full game back. And I believe despite how positive and awesome this past year was for us, I think we're going to get an even better one in 2025. So I'm looking forward to the future. I just wanted to do this quick recap video back in the desert, back in Battle Nations Sandbox, because you can do some cool stuff like this, which you're never going to be able to do in the beta or for launch. Definitely not for launch, definitely not even the beta, because some glitches like this would be like groundbreaking, and most of the major ones have already been patched out. I thought about featuring some glitches, I've had some cool ones sent in, but most of them are just server delays, and then the cool ones get patched out like immediately on the spot. So nothing cool to show, and basically just, like my Imperial Dragoon dying like the last video, so nothing insane. But that will just about do it for us today, guys. If you made it this far, I thank you. I thank you for watching. Again, I want to give a shout out to the Big E for gifting me the Mammoth on Patreon. I want to give a shout out to Madrona Games for bringing back our awesome game. And again, I'm recording this on New Year's Day, and still feeling confident that, looking out to the next, either, I was going to say 365 days, but I guess if, you're counting today as nearly over, since it nearly is, looking at the next 364 days, I'm confident in Battle Nation's future. And with all that being said, that will truly do it for us today, guys. Thank you very much for watching this thing all the way through. I greatly appreciate you. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel if you are new, and dropping a like down below on this video if you enjoyed it today. And with all that being said, thank you very much for watching today, guys, and as always, have a great rest of your day.